Modern men are lonely, yet it wasn't always this way. In generations past, men would leave the village to hunt, fish, and fight the enemy, work together, play together, learn and struggle together, forming deep connections. But now, modern men are scattered, separated from each other. No support, no kinship, no brotherhood. Living in cities with millions of people, yet feeling completely isolated. What happened, and how can a modern man find a tribe of his own? Around the time when I graduated college, my friend group, my tribe, started to dissolve. Everybody was working different shifts, working at different hospitals, or they were still in college and had to study for the rest of their exams. There wasn't a whole lot of time for us to hang out like we used to. We used to go to Thai food every single day after class. We used to go on beach trips and hang out, and it was just a great time, but all of that started to disappear. You know, when you're a kid, you don't really have to force yourself to make friends too much in school. Some people do, but a lot of the time, most of us are just forced into friendships, right? Like you have to do group projects, you're gonna play recess, and you just kind of fall into friendships. And you never really have to learn the skill. I know that I was never really that super outgoing of a kid. Yeah, in grade school, because I knew everybody since I was in diapers. But when I had to go to high school, well, it took me almost 4 years to finally warm up to everybody in my class. And when I got into college, it was kind of the same thing. But when I graduated, it was like poof, all the old friends were gone, and now I'm left to my own devices. And what ended up happening? I would go to work, going back home, getting some fast food, being on the computer, being online, watching some porn, playing some video games, jerking off and going to sleep, and then doing it over and over again. It was like this for years, with very little social interaction. Every single year, I got a little bit less active, more and more friends disappeared, less and less stuff was going on, and then I would go months without interacting with anybody. And it was a really lonely time. I wasn't broken up about it because I was like, well, I'm working and I'm just kind of hanging out and enjoying all my vices, but it really was empty. And I know that a lot of guys nowadays are feeling this, and even more intensely. Depression and male loneliness is huge. And especially in these modern times where male spaces have basically been taken away. You can't talk shit, you can't playfully bully each other because PC culture has taken over everything. You can't just be a dude and talk about dude shit anymore. Working and playing sports and all of that stuff is really when men get to express themselves. Men need brotherhood. Men need a tribe of other men to be around, because really that's the only way men feel comfortable opening up, is when we're playing sports together, hanging out together, roughhousing, and otherwise just doing things, accomplishing tasks together. And then the therapy happens in the midst of that. When I'm with my friends and we go together to a skate park, it's usually the car ride there and the car ride back that I look forward to the most, because that's a time when we get to catch up and see what's going on with each other. That's when they get to tell me something personal, or I get to tell them something personal. It's part of the experience. Most modern men are now stuck at home, all alone, just absorbed in social media, pornography, and all this other shit. And it just makes it harder and harder to go outside and meet new people. And it seems like it's almost impossible because most kids today, Zoomers and even millennials, they don't even have the skills because they weren't taught the skills to make friends. They weren't told or taught how to be social. And so the loneliness just keeps growing year after year. You go to your soul-crushing, shitty job, and then you order Uber Eats and you stay at home. That's it. And the lockdowns just reinforced that and destroyed an entire generation of kids. It's awful. So what can a modern man do? How can a man go about finding a tribe? Well, the strange thing is that if you focus on yourself and you focus on the things that you really are passionate about, the things that you really love, you can end up finding your tribe. This worked for me. When I was in that weird transition period of losing more and more of my old tribe from school, I started getting really bored and really fed up of jerking off 3 times a day and just eating a bunch of shitty food and being skinny fat and all of that. And so I finally said, I'm sick of this. I'm bored. I gotta do something. So I started finding skate parks. I was sick and tired of skating the same parking lot and the same curb every day by myself. And so I looked up on the internet where are the skate parks in the neighboring cities, and I started driving every week and testing them out. I was tired of sitting at home and playing the guitar and noodling around all the time by myself. So I found open mics, I found coffee shops and bars, and started going to music events, started playing, started entering open mic. And I'm telling you, by just pursuing my passions, trying to be as good as I could be, going out and finding other people that did those things, I made the best friends of my life and had the best times of my life. So if you're into sports, if you're into basketball, baseball, soccer, go and find places that have adult teams. If you're into motocross, go to a motocross race. If you're into art, go to art gallery showings, go to art festivals and display your art. Display your passion and your skill, and then start speaking to other people that share your passion. If you want to create a tribe, you first got to make friends. But the thing about making friends is it's kind of weird to just walk up to random people in the street and say, will you be my friend? It's kind of weird. But especially for men, if you have a shared passion, it's easier to just go up to a person and start talking to them about something you have in common. And you slowly start learning about people. You offer to help people. Hey, do you want me to help you set up next time when the next event is? Or, hell yeah, I got some water in my backpack. Do you need some? I have a bottle of water for you. Here you go. You start helping out, you start asking questions, and you keep showing up. People get familiar with your face. And the great thing about this method is that it's not going to be pulling teeth trying to meet new people, because you're already doing something that you really like to do. And when you start talking to someone, you're talking about things that you really like to talk about. And so you aren't going to be bored. You aren't going to be so afraid. I remember in that weird transition period when I was losing my friend group, once in a while, one random friend would hit me up and they would invite me to a party with their coworkers or other friends that they've met. And I would go, but I just had a hard time being at that party. I was the dude standing in the corner or sitting on the couch and petting the cat and not really talking to anybody. Or I would hover around my friend and just only talk to them. And I really just had such a hard time because I didn't have a reason to be there other than I was trying to be social. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if you can learn how to do it, but I was just so awkward at it. But when I started going to the skate park, when I started going to open mic, when I started going to music festivals and shows, I was passionate about those things. And so I was ready to talk to people, and the people that had the same passions were ready to talk to me. And we really could hit it off like that. It's so much easier to make friends this way. Now, all the people that I met through the skate park, all the people that I met through music, were all of them really good people that shared the same morals as me? No. There were plenty of people that were drinking too much, or they were kind of lazy, or just real shady people. But I still kept going, and I still kept participating. And eventually I did find people that connected not only on our passions, not only in our hobbies, but also morally. And now I have an amazing skate crew that I hang out with every week. I've had amazing jam sessions with dudes and had great conversations with musician friends. And even at work, slowly through time, because I was passionate about my work, passionate about doing a good job, I started gravitating towards other people that had a good work ethic. And we're still friends to this day. We've traveled together, gone to Mexico together. Once you learn this skill of applying yourself to your passions and then taking it out into the real world and finding other people that share that passion, you are going to be able to make friends anywhere. Just as an example, over a year ago, I went to Mexico for the first time by myself. And within the first week or so of going to Guadalajara, I went to a skate park and was just skating around. And I met one skater. But then he introduced me to his friends the following day. And then all of a sudden, I found myself skating in the streets of Guadalajara with these guys, going to their favorite skate shop, talking with them, shooting the shit, meeting the skate shop owner, and basically finding myself in a crew of dudes within like 48 hours. And this was, again, my first time in Mexico solo, and I barely spoke any Spanish. But these dudes were so cool and accepting simply because we shared a passion. Just a few months ago, I had decided, hey, it's been a long time since I've gone out to the bars, since the lockdowns. It's been a long time since I've played music live. Let me just go see what's out there. So I started going to cafes, I started going to different bars, and lo and behold, there were a ton of open mics. So I started speaking to the guys that were running the open mic, started giving compliments to the guys that were playing, started playing myself, and started talking to the people that would come up and give me a compliment. Before long, I was finding myself already falling into friendships and friend groups of the people in the night scene. This is a skill that once you learn it, you can continue to build your tribe. You can continue to enter into other existing tribes. Imagine finally finding a few men that you can confide in, speak to, and that you can be open and honest and joke around with. Humans are social creatures. Don't deny that. And as a man, don't deny your primal need and drive to have other masculine men around you. This is how we better each other. This is how we help each other grow. So go out there, find your tribe.